right, we got a little demo video action. We're going to talk about the sugar skulls and kind of some of the procedures, give you some tips and tricks about the project and how we're going to finish these, how we're going to line them, most specifically using black glaze. That's kind of an important part of this. And then we'll talk a little bit about brushing and what you can do with your project ultimately once the project has definitely been fired, because you would not be able to do this process if the project is not fired. So in this class, the way we kind of work with these underglazes and then glazes is underglazes are going to go on before the firing, definitely fired on, so that we don't have any issues with the glazes, or I'm sorry, the underglazes shearing off the surface of whatever it is that you're building while we're glazing them. And then we fire them on. So it's basically just a sturdier version of underglazes. There's fewer issues for you guys on the later end of the project. Now, the way we're going to line these things is pretty straightforward, and we've kind of talked about this already. It's almost like staining a project. When we stained our gargoyles, we brushed the stuff on, then we wiped the stuff that was on the surface away. And we're more or less doing the same thing right now, except we are now getting the glaze, black gloss, in very specific areas. And because we carve these lines so deep, or you were supposed to have carved these lines so deep, when you go to do this, you're going to get these really crispy, clean lines across the surface of your project, shapes or whatever there, and they're going to really pop nicely. And what's kind of cool about this process is it's not difficult. Very simple process. We're going to go ahead and call this glaze inlay, and this is going to give you that very illustrative, almost cartoony look to your projects. And this is 100% there just to outline your projects. It's to give them those nice bold outlines. And you can see I'm liberally applying black glaze to the lines that I carved before the firing. And this is going to deposit that stuff inside the little cracks, inside the little lines. Missed a little spot right there. And the cool thing about this glaze stuff is it's easier to wipe away than the underglazes. It's not as pigmented. And because of the fact that we're working with, I'm only going to do half of this thing. And because that we're working with the fired clay now, rather than the unfired clay with the underglazes, is at this point, the material will wipe away on the surface really easily. And again, all I'm doing is brushing that gloss black right into all the little cracks. Little misses right there, no bigs. All right, and now we're going to get to kind of the big reveal, as it were. And like I said, I'm not going to do the entire surface of the thing. So I've got off to the right here a bowl of water, and I am going to use a nice wet sponge to expose my good crispy clean lines. Wipe away that black glaze. And because the sponge is not hitting the inside surface of those little lines, you're going to get nice precision, really nice precision when we're doing this. I know what you're thinking. There's a lot of residue on the surface of your project. And yes, some of that will show up, but definitely not all of it. I think that residue is from underglaze when I was demonstrating something. It's the type of thing where, again, you have a lot of wiggle room. You could wipe away as much of it as you want. You could leave as much of it as you want. And like I said, it's very similar to the staining process. It even is staining some of it. And you can kind of see the difference right there as I've gone through and wiped away a lot of the unnecessary, the unwanted gloss black. And I've left the good stuff where I want the good stuff. And at this point, if we were to imagine that I finished the entire skull, I can choose to clear glaze my sugar skull This one was clear glazed, albeit a little bit poorly. Or you can choose to leave it with the raw clay exposed, which is a good thing. And either one of these is going to be perfectly acceptable. Neither of them is going to get you more points or less points. They're both going to look good. It's not going to count against you in any way. And both are going to look really good. So you have the option, a little bit of your own voice, your own ideas and opinions coming through right there. And it should all be good at this point. You are 100% allowed to work with glazes. Like if you do want to have gloss black on the eyes or in any part of this thing, it is totally acceptable for you guys to take your gloss black or whatever color and fill in some different areas. It will look good if you do a good job applying the glaze. I'm kind of working around my tripod right here, so I'm brushing this haphazardly almost. And you could do that with any color. The one thing you don't want to do at this point is cover up your hard work. I've had people who would dip the entirety of their projects in gloss black and cover up all the stuff that they spent time filling in, which is not the right way of working. It's a waste of material and a waste of time almost. So for my project, I'm going to take and fill in the black in these sections. That stuff is going to stay black. I'm going to wipe away the stuff that I don't want, that I'm kind of messing up right here. I'll probably end up painting the teeth white. Maybe I might throw a splash of color in here, but I've got enough color from the underglaze to where I'm not particularly worried about it. So that's that. Go for it. Have a good time with the project. Thanks.